It's summer weekdays on the Coast Best Mix 7AD, 7BU. The Eagles in there with a peaceful, easy feeling. Sounds pretty good to me. Time now to take a peek inside with Craig Heppel from the Ulverston Real Estate. Craig, how are you?
Good morning, Andrew. Welcome back. Geez, it only feels like yesterday we closed off 2023, but here we are in 2024. Let's rip.
I tell you what, it's going to be a great year for me, and I hope it's a great year for each and everyone that's listening to us.
Yes, 100%. To everyone out there, Happy New Year, and it'll be a big year, I'm sure.
Now, we do this peeking side each and every Thursday, Craig, around 20 past 11. We're up to episode 45.
Yeah.
And this one's I'm Worried About Being Homeless. What do you mean there?
Okay, this is titled the I'm Worried About Being Homeless clause. Now, in the two states I predominantly practice real estate in, that's Tasmania and Queensland, there is a contract for sale clause that is somewhat unique to both states.
Right.
Now, generically it's called the subject to sale clause, or shortened form, subject to. And it's the term commonly used across the industry.
Right.
Now, this applies when a potential home buyer becomes very interested in a particular property and wants to buy it. However, their current home contains the money or finance they require to buy their next home.
Mm-hmm.
So, in other words, they have to sell that current home to proceed with a purchase.
Right.
Now, there are some inherent risks associated with selling a home under a subject to clause, and the main risk actually sits with the buyer, and I'll explain how this works shortly. Now, when a buyer presents to us and they want to buy a property under a subject to clause,
Mm-hmm.
about 50% have already got their home on the market, and the other 50% don't. So those who don't have their home on the market are really pushing you-know-what uphill.
Mm.
And those that do are at least showing that they're keen to proceed and do a deal. Now, I liken this to showing up to a gunfight with a gun, but with no bullets in it. Now, just to throw another one into the mix, you also have the buyer who is subject to the completion of sale of their home. And this is the buyer that has a contract on their current home which may have all the sale conditions satisfied and simply waiting for settlement.
Right.
Or they have a contract on their current home awaiting the sale conditions to be met. Now, these buyers do have the gun and almost enough bullets to get involved.
Right. Okay.
So why do buyers who are yet to sell their current home try and pull the trigger on the next home without any bullets? And in the majority of cases, they've got a deep-seated fear of being homeless. That they'll put their home on the market, they'll sell it, and they've got nothing to go to. So that fear of putting their home on the market, selling, and having nowhere to go,
Mm-hmm.
generally is an unwarranted one, because whilst you're on the market, it always happens. The universe will show you your next home, and you'll be ready to roll.
Right.
So these are the special clauses they can insert, or there are special clauses they can insert into the sale of their current home, but ensure that it doesn't settle until they find their next home. But sadly, those clauses aren't commonly utilised. So that's basically keeping their buyer on the ice until they find the home they need.
Right.
So nearly every subject to buyer I've come across, whether their home is on the market or about to be coming to the market, they say the same thing. But it should sell quickly. Yeah, but what if it doesn't?
Mm.
And here is where the big protection comes in for a vendor or a seller when the 48-hour clause comes into play, or, the subject to. And that is, when a seller is presented with a subject to offer, they almost all invariably and rightly have the fear that their home will be tied up for weeks or months. But it won't. A good agent will insist that the risk reverts to the buyer by inserting that 48-hour provision, which means the seller's property remains on the market, and other buyers who may have cash or pre-approved finance can be entertained. And those buyers can be engaged and encouraged to make offers. But the agent must not divulge how much the subject to offer is. That wouldn't be fair to the subject to buyer.
So you can have many other people come in there and make an offer, but not go back to the original. Right.
Well, that subject to contract is in your back pocket and you're waiting for that buyer's home to go under contract to activate it. But if their home's still not under contract, you can entertain other buyers.
Buyers,
100%.
right. Yep.
And the initial buyer is made fully aware of that. So if another cash or finance-only offer is acceptable to the seller, the original subject to buyer is basically given 2 working days to find the required funds to secure the deal, and if they can't, the property is secured by the new buyer. So this is where the risk lies with a subject to buyer.
It sounds like stalling, Craig.
What's that?
It sounds like stalling.
Well, it's a risk. It's a risk thing. People don't want to be at risk of being homeless, so they go out and shop with their home on the market or not yet on the market, hoping they find the next property and they can quickly go back and sell theirs in 2 days.
Right.
It can happen, but generally it doesn't.
Right.
So the risk is always with the buyer who comes in subject to, because at the moment, the best advice, well, I'll just go back one step. When the market went from hot to not, and that's from mid-22 to mid-23, subject to offers were a bit more common. But now, with more buyers coming into the market, subject to buyers are competing with cashed up or financed approved buyers. And the best advice I can give anyone who wants to secure their next property and you've still got to sell yours is at least have your home on the market before you go shopping, because it shows better intent and provides leverage for an acceptable offer.
Right, okay.
So this is just one of the many scenarios that people need to look out for when selling and buying real estate. So if you have any questions or have a situation that you may not quite understand, drop me an email, craig@ulverstonrealestate.com. That's craig@ulverstonrealestate.com, and I'll answer that question on air, and I'll also reply to your email, of course, ensuring your privacy. People don't necessarily have to know who you are if it's personal, but this helps other people who may have the same question floating around in their head. So be upfront. If you want to send me an email, I'm very happy to answer any real estate question you've got.
Sounds pretty good. Now, you've got a home of the week as well.
I have, and this is an absolute beauty. It did come on just before Christmas, but now with buyers starting to really, well, not so much creep back, they're back. It's number 56 Richardson Street, West Ulverston. It's an immaculate and modern 3-bedroom, 2-bath brick home on a generous 789 square metre fenced block with sunny northern aspect and sea views. It's in a quiet cul-de-sac and priced to sell from $589,000. And it's open this Saturday, and that's the 27th, It's open this Saturday at 11 a.m, so be there.
With this long weekend, you don't know where you are, do you?
Mate, after we get out of Christmas, then all of a sudden we've got a long weekend on us. We're all over the shop.
We're back over the public holidays, aren't we?
Yeah, it's all on again.
Well, Craig, I tell you what, I've looked on your website. It's a great website, so people need to go and have a look at that as well, don't they?
Yeah, well, any episode we've done, and we're up to 45 of Peek Inside, it's all on our, all those recordings are on my website. So if you want to listen to a range of topics, it's there. Just go to media and then click on radio and take your pick. But we've got a wealth of knowledge on our website. That's ulverstonrealestate.com.
Well, Craig, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk again next Thursday.
No, thanks, Andrew. It's great to have you back.
No problems. Talk to you then, Craig. Okay, that's a peek inside with Craig Heppel from the Ulverston Real Estate. We do it each and every Thursday about 11:20. Coming up on summer weekdays, some Tiffany, Elvis Presley, Hunters and Collectors.